So the question's been going around, and a lot of people have been speaking about, can Liverpool win the league? We've got Arsenal looking very good. You've got Manchester City, who are always kind of seen as the favourites. You've got Spurs that are looking fantastic. But we know what Liverpool are capable of. We know what Klopp's capable of. We know that they can win the league, and we know that they can go into those 90-point seasons. Now, I think we're in a position where winning the league is so hard because of Pep Guardiola. Liverpool, missed out on winning the league by a point twice. But one thing we know about Liverpool from their history is they can compete with Manchester City. They can go into the 90 plus points. And although they dropped off massively last season, their rebuild, particularly their midfield rebuild, has given them lots of athleticism, which we're going to talk about in more detail, that could propel them to becoming, I guess, maybe title favourites or maybe the favourites to actually compete with Man City. I know everyone sort of predicted Man City first, Arsenal second. Now a lot of people are predicting Spurs second because they won't have those extra games, and Ange doing fantastic. But the one team we know that can compete with Man City is Liverpool. And I saw some statistics that actually highlight that Liverpool, in a weird way, have had the most successful start to the season. Liverpool have actually underperformed their XG quite a bit, and Liverpool have the highest expected goals across all top 5 leagues in all competitions. Liverpool, statistically, have had a harder fixture list than the teams above them in the league. They're only 3 points off first. Had that dodgy red card not happened at Spurs, and not dodgy red card, a dodgy VAR call not happened at Spurs, would they have lost to Spurs? 9 men as well. You look at many factors about, the games that Liverpool have played have been a lot harder than some of the teams above them. They've got the highest XG. And I read a statistic somewhere that, points or expected points, Liverpool were the highest. So statistically, there's a lot of things pointing to Liverpool having actually the most successful start to the season. And they did an analysis of how many points they'd expect Liverpool to have with the teams that they played, and how many points they did have, and they overperformed that, and that they had one of the hardest starts to the league. So in today's video, we're going to talk about, can Liverpool win the league? Why Liverpool all of a sudden seem to be back? Are they back? I think they are back. I know before that Spurs game, Liverpool were actually like 18 games unbeaten in the Premier League. They had a very iffy start last season, and then they turned it around and had a really good end. But were one of the best teams if you actually look at 2023 form, and they've obviously started this season incredibly well, despite dropping points to Brighton and obviously the loss against Spurs. But I think the loss against Spurs is a little bit of an anomaly because you have to look at the red card, the VAR decision, would they have lost that game regardless? But what I think is interesting is Liverpool have probably quite a few easy fixtures coming out to sort of suggest where they're going to be. So, they've got Everton, which you expect them to win. They've got Forest, which you expect them to win. Luton should be a thrashing. Brentford, you'd expect them to win. City's the big test. I think around November 25th, you sort of get an idea where Liverpool are at when they play City. But even after City, they've got Fulham, Sheffield United, and Crystal Palace. They've got all these easy games. And to be honest, I hate to say this because I'm a Man United fan, but Liverpool's favourite fixture seems to be Man United at home. For some reason, when we go to Anfield, we are dreadful. So ahead of Christmas, I think Christmas will really tell. They've obviously got Arsenal, but Man United, they always beat at home. Let's be honest. I hate to say that, but they do always beat us at home. Palace, Sheffield United, Fulham. All of these games, apart from City, you expect Liverpool to win. And if Liverpool do win all of these games, they're no doubt in my mind in a title race. And if they do beat City, you could argue that they are favourites. I think a lot of people said, look, could Arsenal be in a title race? Yes, Arsenal are in a title race. Spurs are in a title race. But we know through Klopp and we know through Liverpool's past and Liverpool's history that they have that mentality to win. And they've won before, and they've still got Alisson, the best goalkeeper in the world. They've still got Salah, the best right winger in the world. And while Van Dijk's dropped off, his presence is still incredibly important. They have players with that winning experience. They have that manager with a winning experience. And they've proven many seasons, even seasons they haven't won, that they can compete with City and they can go to the very end. Arsenal were fantastic last season, but they couldn't prove that they could go to the very end. They dropped off massively. Saliba getting injured didn't help. And you could argue that Arsenal didn't have the depth. Whereas I think, Liverpool, they don't have the depth that City have. But actually, if you look at Liverpool and you sort of look at the direction they're going at, I think their depth has massively improved. If Núñez underperforms, okay, we'll put in Cody Gakpo. If Diaz underperforms, okay, we'll put in Jota. And, right now you look at Liverpool's recent games, 3-1 win over Bournemouth, 2-1 winner than Newcastle, and Newcastle, fantastic side. They absolutely battered PSG, and Liverpool had 10 men and they came from behind to win that game, showing they've got the mentality, showing they've got the fight. 3-0 against Villa, and Villa are a really good side. People forget how good Villa are, and this season they've been phenomenal, and they absolutely battered Villa. 3-1 over Wolves. Again, look at all these three goals as well. Obviously, last year expect them to win. West Ham 3-1. Again, West Ham have had a really good start to the season. They've got results against West Ham, Villa, and Newcastle, who have all been absolutely solid teams this season. And the interesting thing is the amount of games they've had 10 men in, and they've still got results over the line. And then big wins versus Villa, big wins versus Newcastle. And I know they drew to Brighton, probably could have got a winner, but I think was it Gravenberch that missed a sitter? And I know they lost to Spurs, but every Liverpool fan I speak to almost just thinks Spurs is quite an anomaly. And it does feel that way as well. And if you look at the league standings here, they are in 4th place, but look, they're a win away. They're a win away from being, first place. It's so tight at the top, and I think all 4 of these teams have been incredible. Look, Villa just behind them, and they beat Villa 3-0. West Ham is 7th. They beat West Ham. And they've still got the teams they've got. They haven't played, Sheffield United or Burnley or Luton or Everton or Brentford or Forest or Fulham yet. They've had this hard sort of fixture list, and kind of what I wanted to speak about with Liverpool was actually their midfield, how their midfield's changed and how it's made them so much better. And I feel like I've been waffling for 6 minutes and not really got into the points that I want to get into. But I wanted to speak about why I think Liverpool, unfortunately, can win the league. Spoke about their fixture list. I think they've had some hard fixtures. I spoke about the mentality to go to 10 men and be 1-0 down to Newcastle at St James's Park and win that 2-1. I think Darwin Núñez looks like a better player. I think they've improved in depth. They've still got players like Alisson and Salah that are just, in that world-class kind of elite level, best in the world for their positions as well. They've obviously got Jurgen Klopp that's an elite manager. But what Jurgen Klopp has done is he's building his second team. Where Liverpool were in a lot of trouble last season was midfield. This is what I want to talk about. Klopp's sort of genius. Liverpool's big problem last season was midfield. They did not have the legs, and that is so important. I'm watching Man United. Casemiro, I love them, and Eriksen, I like Eriksen, but they don't have when Casemiro and Eriksen play against other teams, they don't have the legs anymore. Their legs had gone. And I think with Liverpool, yes, it's not an experienced midfield and it's a lot younger, but it's the legs that make such a difference. Fabinho, I think his legs were going as good as he was for Liverpool. You look at Szoboszlai and you look at Mac-allister, you look at the ground that they can cover. Szoboszlai and Mac-allister, that pairing for me has been vital for Liverpool. Now, I'm going to be honest, I think they still need a 6. Endo, I think, is a Milner replacement. They need that Fabinho replacement. And I've said this, I think City will win the league. But if Liverpool go out there and they get a good, solid number 6 in January and they're lucky with injuries, there's no doubt in my mind that Liverpool could win the league. Because Mac-allister and Szoboszlai have been absolutely fantastic. And the athleticism they bring to their Liverpool midfield is really giving them energy, winning them games. And that's helping them a lot going forward. Szoboszlai is an unbelievable player at, carrying the ball forward. Not only does he score screaming of the goals, but he's press resistant. His work rate off the ball, the amount he moves, but his ability to break lines and carry the ball forward is helping Liverpool attack more. It's helping Liverpool, play better football and have, create more opportunities. And Mac-allister covers so much ground. And those two players being work rates in the midfield all of a sudden makes that Liverpool team a lot harder to play against. And Klopp is kind of building a second era of Liverpool sides. He's still got his core players, kind of like Fergie. He had to rebuild lots of United teams, but he always had 1 or 2 core players that sort of remained across 2 teams or 3 teams, like your Scholesies and all of that. But, Liverpool are rebuilding their second team now, but they've still got Trent. They've still got Robbo, who were key to their best era. They've still got Alisson, who's key to his best era. Van Dijk's still a good player, despite his drop-off in form. Salah's still absolutely unreal. But then they're just refreshing. They lost Mane, they lost Firmino. But I think Jota, Diaz, Gakpo and Núñez are all good options there. They've lost, Fabinho, they lost Henderson. But actually, Mac-allister and Szoboszlai are this young future and actually they're more exciting. And the one thing they do miss is that big 6. But I think that this Liverpool rebuild, having the legs in midfield, it has really leveraged them quite a lot. And I think that they can generally push on to win the league. Now, I still think it's hard to know who will win the league. And I think a big part of it does come down to just things like injuries and general luck. And I think Christmas time's when you sort of get an idea. But with Liverpool arguably having pretty easy games that you expect them to win, bar Man City to Christmas time, they could be near the top of the league or top of the league at Christmas time. Now, City do have Rodri back, and although City haven't looked good recently, that is because they didn't have Rodri. And I do think if Rodri stays fit, no one's touching City. But Haaland's not been as clinical as he was. There's been a few issues at City. And, Liverpool, I don't think are, one player and everything changes. I think with Man City, when Rodri's not there, a lot changes. Trent was missing for Liverpool, their best creator, but they're still creating chances, still got the highest XG per game, still averaging the most. And, if I show you these Liverpool statistics here, that's it here. If I show you the certain Liverpool statistics, Liverpool have the highest XG here across all top 5 leagues and all comps. In the Premier League, they rank 3rd, but they're joint 2nd, let's be honest, with Brighton here. In the Premier League, they're ranking so high as well. If you look at other statistics, Liverpool were the first away team to possess more XG against De Zerbi's Brighton in the Premier League game at the Amex Stadium. They're dominating possession. They're creating the most chances. You actually look at, Liverpool statistically here as well, most XG created. They are the biggest threat going forward. They are scoring the most goals, even when they've not had certain players available. And they've got players like Gravenberch who are going to come into the team and probably elevate it as well. So depending on injuries, I do unfortunately think that, yeah, Liverpool are back. Like, I can tell from watching Liverpool that they're back. I don't know if they'll win the league, but they'll definitely challenge. And I think, if they have a good January transfer window, who knows what will happen. Anyway, smash a like, smash a subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.